Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you today about how to repair and or build credit, just the basics, the foundations. Not too deep into it, but I just wanted to kind of give just credit repair or credit building 101. So this is not going to be a full how-to video. I just wanted to kind of share with you some tips and some things that you may not know, and just to let you know that it's never too late to rebuild your credit, to repair and get things back on track. So never just give up on your credit. Never give up on getting rid of debt and just thinking you're too far in a hole. There's always a solution. So anyways, let's jump right into it. The first thing that I do recommend, that I recommend doing is, I'm hoping I didn't cover up the microphone. I tend to do that a lot. But the first thing that I recommend doing is go ahead and pull your credit. Now, there's a lot of places that require your credit card to be on file, or your credit card to be ran for a payment, a discounted payment. But what I like to use is Credit Karma. That's one. Of course, you know, it's always good to be able to, some of the things that you can access by paying for your credit report is accessing all three credit bureaus. But I like to just, get straight to the point and just see what's on my credit, right off the top. And whenever I get too deep into it and I want to know more details, then I'll pay for a credit report. That way I have all the details. So just for you to get started, I recommend just going to Credit Karma and creditkarma.com. It's just creditkarma.com. And they don't require that. They will give you a credit report. Now, please make sure that you go to the library or you have a computer so that you can print out your credit report, because this is pointless if you're not going to have all these details in front of you to be able to go back and refer to whenever you're trying to fix things. So make sure you have access to a printer, or sorry, my phone was cutting out. But if not, I do recommend that you take full notes. So be prepared for that. But like I said, I highly recommend that you go and just make sure, go to the library so that you can just print out everything and use their paper. But anyways, print out your credit report, look on there. You're going to see there's some terms. Here's some terms that I wanted to let you guys know about. Some terms that you may not be familiar with, and I wrote these down so that so I could remember to tell you guys. Revolving credit. So if you see revolving credit on your credit report, so this is basically all of the credit that you have open that such as credit cards. That's a example of a revolving credit. Anything that can be reopened as you pay it off, or pay the amount in full, or make payments, whenever you how when you pay your credit card off, and if it's still an open card, they'll give you access to use it again. That's revolving credit. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know what that meant if you've seen it. So it's going to show you all of your accounts that are open revolving accounts. It's also going to show you your delinquent accounts. If you have any delinquent accounts on your credit, it sounds like a harsh word, which it is. You need to take it seriously, but delinquent is another term for past due, overdue. Should not be overdue, you know what I'm saying? So don't take those lightly. Delinquent accounts, if those are hitting your credit, that's not good. You need to take care of those. Delinquent accounts are usually delinquent 30 days, 60 days. So let's say you have, something happened to where you weren't able to make your car payment, and now you're hitting 35, 40 days. Typically, they're going to let your credit bureaus know that, hey, she's not making her payments, he's not making her payments, go ahead and report this. And mostly, sometimes those types of places will go, 55 days, 60 days, but most places that are strict, such as credit cards, they don't play. They're like 30 days and nope, she's made a late payment, or she still owes us that payment. So those are what delinquent accounts are. Those are also, so any accounts that are past due. Now, then you're going to have your like derogatory accounts. Those are not good either. Now, you should already know by these terms which ones are good and which ones are not good. This credit report, by printing this out, you're going to know exactly what you owe, exactly what you were late on. If you owe nothing, but you just see, some old accounts that you were like, 30 days past due, or, but you've already paid that car off, there's an option that you can dispute. That doesn't mean that you were not really late on that account. It just means you can dispute that account. I'm sorry, I got people interrupting me. It just means that you can dispute this account, and basically, in other words, you're saying, I'm already aware that I was late, but this account has been taken care of, even if you're still currently making payments, and let's say you've made payments on your car for the past 6, 7, 8 months, a year, or whatever, and you've not been late since, and you got some old delinquent hits on your account. This is where you can dispute some things. Now, not all times they're going to honor that, but more than likely, if you keep disputing, and you're going to dispute by typing up a dispute letter. There are samples online. I recommend using a professional template. There's all kinds out there that look just kind of cliche, and keep in mind how many how many dispute letters that Equifax and those places TransUnion are getting every day. They know what is being written by the customer and what's been really written by a credit repair agency or professional. So please don't just pull any template off of Google. You need to really do your research if you're going to do it yourself. Or I recommend going and seeing a credit advisor, financial advisor, credit repair agency. But if you're going to do this yourself, it's really not hard. I've done it myself, and I'm only sharing this with you guys because I've been able to raise my credit by doing these things, by being self-disciplined, by changing some habits, by saving money, and by actually opening some credit cards. I was definitely someone who was not a fan of credit cards. I never wanted to have one in my life, and I went my whole teenage life, early years in my 20s, that whole time, all the way up into about 28, 29 without a credit card. And but I will tell you, it opens more doors for you if you're careful. And I really wish that high school would start teaching more things about credit and the importance of having good credit, because there's a lot of things I had to learn on my own. But I will say, having a credit card, it's good for emergencies. It's good for building credit. And once you build credit, that opens doors for buying homes. If you're into flipping houses, that's going to open your opportunities, your doors for getting loans, business loans, things like that. People won't even look twice your way, or won't even look your way, if they run your credit report and you got hits on your credit and you have no credit lines whatsoever, and who cares? I mean, some people say money speaks, if you got cash on you, but it doesn't in the business world. I'll promise you that. It doesn't always speak in the business world. So don't think your cash is going to get you everywhere. It may get you a lot of places, but if you really want to make it up, and be comfortable in life, you got to have some decent credit. So, anyways, I kind of rambled on a little bit, but what I was trying to say about my my credit cards is that I highly recommend, when you first start out, do a secured credit card. And I said secured, not any credit card, a secured one. And what that means is that there is a limit on it. It's secured, meaning you cannot swipe it past that limit. I like those because they allow you to build your credit to earn higher points on your credit score, while giving you the funds to do what you need to do at that moment. So if you don't get paid until next week, but you have your secured credit card with $200 on it, and you need groceries or gas, or there's an emergency, you have that available to use, and swipe your card. And as soon as your funds come in, don't forget about that credit line or that credit card that you just used. You need to pay that right back as if you used your own cash. You need to go ahead and put that money in the form of a check, a money order, or whatever payment method that you're going to make, and pay it right back. Don't let that go. Don't say, I'm going to pay it on my next paycheck or something like that, the one after this one. Go ahead and take care of it as soon as you get the money. Act like you're borrowing somebody's money, because that's really what you're doing. It wasn't yours to begin with. So I highly recommend secured cards. There's some places, the ones that I do recommend, what I have is Capital One. So Capital One is very, very lenient on approving people for secured credit cards. Now, sometimes they will require you to pay a small deposit, which is like $49, depending on how bad your score is. But either way, they're going to approve you. So be prepared to. Some people do not have to pay one, but it'll tell you right then and there. But at least if it's $49 for a deposit, you don't have to do it right away. Just know that when you're available, when you have that $49 or $100 or whatever it requires, that you're approved. But just know that once you pay that and once you commit to that, it's open. It's your card. You don't have to make monthly payments on that card. You only are making those payments when you use it. Now, some companies, this actually just happened to my husband. I almost said cousin. My husband, he had a credit card that had a nice little limit on it, and it was just from a jewelry store, and it was where we bought his wedding ring. And he actually had been approved for some more money on there. We didn't want to use it. We were just kind of letting it set to the side. Big mistake, because after not using it for so long, they will close those. But let's go back to the basics of the credit cards. You definitely want to, once you do get your card in the mail, use it for gas. So instead of spending your $20, swipe your card, put your gas in your car, fill your tank up. And again, if you have $20 in your purse, go ahead and put it in the mail. I mean, you don't have to only use a card when you're broke right now and then wait till you get paid to pay it. If you have the money in your wallet, go ahead and use your card and then put it right in the mail, just so that you're building that credit. That's what that is. You can, after making so many payments, you can increase that limit. So maybe you started out at $200. That's all you could use on there. Maybe 6 months later, 3 months later, it depends on the company, but most places are about 6 months, and then you can request for them to increase it if your payments have been on time. And usually they will, by a few $100s, sometimes $1,000, or depending on how high your points went up, they'll honor you and approve you for more funds on your card, or a higher limit, in other words. So going back to your credit report, when you pull your credit report and you see, let's say that you have, keep in mind, utility bills. They will also be reported to. Anything that you do not pay will be reported to your credit. Trust me. Such a water bill. I've had a water bill on my credit for like $50, and I didn't even know, because it was from an old house. You do not want simple stuff sitting like that on your credit. People are going to laugh in your face. well, in their heads, that you just let something like that go, and now that's impacting why you can't buy a house. Don't let that happen. But I have. So if you're in my shoes where I've been, if you have something so simple sitting on your credit, call the utility office, get your account number, and or if it's not utility, if it's a medical payment or whatever, get your account number and send $10 in. If you can't afford $10 in, $5 in. Let them know that you are aware you owe something and you are being responsible and paying it back, because then they are going to start reporting that, and that's going to look even better. A lot of people ask, in my opinion, when is a good time to file for bankruptcy? I want to say never, but there are small cases, some small instances that I would say may be more appropriate, such as a bad divorce. If someone left you with a tremendous amount of debt and there's no way for you to crawl out of it, maybe that would be something to go and speak to a financial advisor about, a credit counselor about, and you may be in the position to file for divorce and start on a clean slate. I've seen people file for bankruptcy, and I don't know if I said file for divorce or bankruptcy, but file for bankruptcy over like a couple of small bills, and like a utility bill and a phone bill, and that is a big mistake. Like, you could pay those things off. Don't ever file for bankruptcy over something so small. I'm talking thousands and thousands of dollars in debt, or maybe you're disabled now and all of this is impacting you. Don't do it unless it should be a last resort, because that stays on your credit for a long time. Okay, so here's another thing I did want to mention. There is usually, let's say you have, I've had a big medical bill that I tried to pay on, years ago, and I got behind and I just blew it off because I'm like, you know what, they ain't going to come and garnish my checks or anything because, it ain't that serious. No, that's pretty wrong. Some places can garnish your checks. They didn't. But when it came time to buy a house, I was like wanting things to happen overnight, and it wasn't going to happen. So what I did was I called, and on this big old medical bill that I had, they gave me the option. It was like a $5,000 medical bill. They were giving me the option to settle. So that's another vocabulary term, settle on your account. This is an option when you cannot afford to pay the whole thing. They'll give you this option sometimes as kind of a last resort of, here, well, pay me something, basically. Here, I want to take something. But on my medical bill, they settled for like $2,300. Of course, I didn't have $2,300 right then and there, so they broke it into 3 installments. That I could afford. So at that time, I paid my 3 installments. They submitted it after the final payment was made. About 30 days it took, and it updated on my credit as settled. And I disputed it because I didn't want it to say settled, and I said it was paid. Now, although I know it was a settled account, I wanted it to look better on my credit, so I said it was paid. And I typed up my little dispute letter, kept sending it, and I mean send and send and send and send until you get a response from them. And I did it, and now it updated on my credit as a paid account, which is much better. Another thing, when you're sending your dispute letters, though, send it in a certified letter. You want proof that you sent it, because if you have no proof, they don't care. If you want to know when they received it, because you want to send them consistently. Send a dispute letter consistently until you get that result that you're wanting. I can't promise you that all times they're going to take these things off your credit, but usually they will if you keep bothering them. Keep in mind, don't send no handwritten letters. They do not care about no handwritten letters. They want formal letters and not the cliche ones. So do your research on that. What else? Make your car payments on time. that's another thing that I've been through. You know, I couldn't make my car payment one time. I really was going through some things like medical stuff, and I avoided phone calls, and you know, you just don't want to hear it, and you don't want them telling you that old cliche saying, you know, can you make a payment today? No, I can't, or I would have called. But what you can do is talk to them. Don't ignore those debt collector calls, because it's going to make it so much worse. They're human beings just like we are human beings. I know sometimes it's frustrating because you'll get some people that you cannot understand what they're saying. If it's that bad and you can't understand the person on the other end of the line, ask for someone else. People get so judgmental and, you know, talk about people from other countries. They have to have jobs too. But if you have trouble understanding them, then you need to request for a supervisor, or request for somebody else that can help you. Just because they have a different accent or language doesn't mean that they're any less intelligent than we are. They're in their position, and we're the one needing help. So just consider that whenever you're ignoring those debt collectors. You're not making your situation any better. You need to pick up that phone, and what they can do is they can offer you a deferment. They can offer you payment arrangements, or even break it down into installments. I've had that happen. Don't be afraid to talk to them. If it gets too tense, just say you have to go, and you'll call back another time, and hang up. Not hang up in their face, but just call back another time. But it does not hurt. Do not ignore them. Don't keep doing that. But I've done that, and then one time I got on the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, talk to them. And whenever I talked to them, they helped me out, you know, on that car payment that I was behind on or late on. They tacked it on to the end of my term, and I was able to skip a whole month, and that caught me up. And I mean, yes, it prolonged my term like 1 month, but it caught me up. There's so many options out there, you guys. So I just want you to know, I said it wasn't going to be a long video, but credit is it can be as complicated as you want it to be. And I recommend you guys Googling a budget list budget template, and keep track of your budget. Look over the next couple months, see what you're spending, because I guarantee you're spending things that you don't need to spend, and that could be going toward paying off your debt. You'd be surprised when you're doing these dispute letters, when you're paying these little $5 payments, when you get this secured card, over the next couple months, your points can jump from, you know, 40, even I've seen people jump like 80 points or more, depending on what type of issue you're having. So don't underestimate yourselves on what you can do for yourself. It does start with you. And I hope this video was helpful. I just wanted to share this thing because I check my credit score almost every day. My husband checks his every morning. But this is just something that I've gotten, I don't want to say addicted to, but really kind of, but I've made more of a priority in my life, because I know where I want to go, and it's going to take credit getting there. So, I just want you guys to know, you know, even if you're an entrepreneur, credit is everything. Even if you're, you know, a medical professional, even if you're, you know, self-employed or a business owner, credit is everything. So, please share this video. Don't forget, if you haven't seen already, I have a YouTube channel now, so I won't be having these business pages for much longer. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Search my name, Keisha L. Bennett, and subscribe, like, share my videos. Share this video because I want it to help and reach more people. So I hope that was all I could put out there for today, but I'm sure I'm missing some things. But anyways, yeah, so share this video, and I'll upload some more topics soon, but that was just one I wanted to share with you guys today. Anyways, have a good day.